When the car accident happened, Shin Yan immediately shielded his beloved Qin Wen in his arms, completely ignoring me, his pregnant wife. That day, Shin Yan and Qin Wen dominated the trending searches. Comments were overwhelmingly shipping their romance, with blessings flying everywhere on the screen at the same time. A discordant comment also made its way to the trending searches. Tycoon Shin Yan suspected to be married, while top celebrity Qin Wen knowingly becomes the third party. Someone posted a photo of Shin Yan and me getting our marriage certificate at the Civil Affairs Bureau 5 years ago. Suddenly, news exploded that the popular actress Qin Wen was involved in an affair as the other woman. Shin Yan immediately issued a statement, clarifying that he had already left and was not speaking on behalf of Qin Wen. Just a few hours after the statement was released, Shin Yan came to the hospital room and handed me a divorce agreement. Shinjin, Qin Wen has worked so hard to get where she is today, to keep her career from being affected. Let's get a divorce for now. We can remarry once things settle down. I nodded and silently took the divorce papers Shin Yan handed me, signing my name, and immediately scheduled an abortion. At the moment of the car accident, Qin Wen in the back seat was coquettishly flirting with Shin Yan. She complained that the cruise food was terrible and that this shoot was too exhausting. Shin Yan gently comforted Qin Wen, saying he would arrange for a 5-star hotel chef to personally take care of her meals. As for the exhausting shoot, he planned to call the director and have all the tough, grueling scenes replaced with stunt doubles. I sat in the front seat, my eyes fixed on the rearview mirror, watching Qin Wen lean against Shin Yan and grab his arm affectionately, feeling a bit dazed. Anyone who didn't know would probably think Qin Wen and Shin Yan Kai were a loving couple, but I'm the one who's Shin Yan's legitimate wife, aren't I? Watching my own husband get that close with another woman and having to swallow my anger. I'm basically the ultimate doormat, I thought to myself with a hint of self-mockery, and the next second, a car accident happened. My body was thrown forward by the inertia, then yanked back by the seatbelt. The airbag deployed and cushioned my body, but my foot got caught on something, and my head was bleeding profusely from the impact. The moment the pain hit, my first instinct was to turn and check on Shin Yan, who was sitting in the back seat. Shin Yan had a bleeding gash on his forehead just like me, but he didn't even spare a thought for himself. His eyes were fixed on Qin Wen, who had passed out in his arms. Wen, are you okay? Maybe it was because of the pain from the injury, but my eyes actually started to well up. Tears mixed with the blood streaming down my forehead blurred my vision. I didn't wipe it off. I just sat there blankly in the passenger seat, my consciousness fading amidst Shin Yan's frantic calls for Qin Wen and the excruciating pain that tore through me. When I woke up again, several hours had passed. I stared at the white ceiling for a long moment before my vision finally focused. Auntie's delighted voice came from beside her. Madam, you're awake, Mrs. Wang. I turned to look at the housekeeper, but the next second, a sharp sting in my foot made me wince and hiss through my teeth. Wang Ma held my hand with concern. It hurts a lot, doesn't it, since you're pregnant? The doctors didn't dare use painkillers. You just have to bear the pain. My voice hoarse, I asked, what's wrong with my foot? The abrasions are severe, and there's a bone fracture. You need to be hospitalized for a few days of observation. At least it's not broken. I breathed a sigh of relief. Just then, my phone rang from the bag on the nightstand. Wang Ma took out the phone and handed it to me. I answered, and my best friend Lin Shanshan's loud, angry voice came through. I'm so pissed. That disgusting scumbag Shen and his mistress Qin, people are actually buying their love story. What the hell is wrong with them? And you just stood by silently watching that scumbag Shen and his mistress Qin hype themselves up. I moved the phone a bit farther away. Shanshan, I hurt my leg. What? How did you get hurt when you were perfectly fine? We're in the same car. Fuck, that bastard Shen. He actually defended that homewrecker Qin right in front of you. What does he take you for? His pregnant wife, Lin Shanshan on the other end of the phone was absolutely furious, cursing while rustling as she put on her clothes. Which hospital are you at? I'm coming right now. After hanging up Lin Shanshan's call, I glanced at the trending topics. Shin Yan and Qin Wen's explosive trending topics dominated the top 10. The trending search pieced together what happened after I passed out. The ambulance arrived quickly. Qin Wen, who had been shielded by Shin Yan, was completely unharmed, but had somehow fainted. Shin Yan's hysterical outburst and the scene of him carrying Qin Wen onto the ambulance were captured on a passerby's phone and posted online. Qin Wen is currently a red-hot superstar. In less than half an hour, Shin Yan's identity was quickly dug up, along with all his past with Qin Wen. by netizens too. Shinyan, a sought-after rising tycoon in the business world. Netizens dug up that Shinyan and Qinwen were classmates, a perfect match. She's beautiful, he's talented, and they started dating in their senior year of high school. Old photos of Shinyan and Qinwen from their younger days were dug up by resourceful netizens. The comments are all the same: so sweet, this is the most perfect couple I've ever seen. Yeah, it's really not easy for a campus romance to make it this far, don't you think, Mr. Shin's act of protecting his wife without caring about his own safety is just too badass. Absolutely, that's true love, right? He'd risk his own life to protect the woman he loves. The high-definition video of Shinyan shielding Qinwen's bleeding forehead was shared over and over again among them. The image of me bleeding and passed out in the passenger seat also came flooding back. Someone commented under the video, asking, "Who's this ugly woman with a bloody head?" Someone replied hesitantly, "The person in the passenger seat is usually an assistant, right?" Someone retorted, "She's not an assistant, I know all of Qinwen's assistants, and Shin Yan's assistant is a man, not a woman." Then who is this woman? Many people are treating the video of me fainting as a joke, and after all the gossip, they've concluded that she's not an assistant but a maid from my household. After all, I was dressed plainly with no accessories at all, so I could only be seen as a maid in the house. I silently scrolled through the comments, my mind wandering. Everyone says Shinyan and Qinwen are a match made in heaven, but no one knows the truth is actually not like this. Shinyan and I have been betrothed since childhood. Qinwen came from behind. She transferred to the school where Shinyan and I were in our senior year of high school, and then won Shinyan's love. Shinyan was indeed madly in love with Qinwen back then, and he even tried to break off our engagement to be with her. But in wealthy families, love doesn't exist. Back then, the Shin family's company ran into trouble and needed funding, while Qinwen came from an ordinary background and couldn't offer the Shin family any support. In the end, the Shin family stepped in to tear the couple apart, forcing Shinyan to break up with Qinwen. Shinyan and Qinwen were madly in love with each other, so there was no way they would break up. The two had agreed to elope, but something happened just then. On the night before they were set to leave, Shinyan and I inexplicably ended up in bed together, and Qinwen walked in on us. Heartbroken, Qinwen chose to leave. After searching everywhere for her without success, Shinyan was forced by his family to marry me. Shinyan feels no love for me. On the contrary, he harbors a deep hostility toward me. He thinks I deliberately tried to break him and Qinwen up. I can't explain it, because I truly love Shinyan, love him to the marrow of my bones. Marrying Shinyan and becoming his wife is the thing I want most in the world. I know Shinyan doesn't like me, and I know marrying him will be a hard road. When I married Shinyan, he set very harsh conditions. Our relationship was to remain undisclosed to the public. I've been married to Shinyan for 3 years, but we've kept it a secret. Shinyan treated me with the same coldness as when he laid down the 3 ground rules at our wedding, and I loved him with utter humility, washing his clothes, cooking his meals, and making him hangover soup. And so we lived under the same roof for 2 years, until one night we became husband and wife in the truest sense. I thought this was a major breakthrough in my relationship with Shinyan, but I was being too naive. Shinyan has actually started to change the way he treats me. He comes home from work on time now, and on holidays he prepares gifts and gives me flowers. He prepares brown sugar ginger tea for me when my period comes and I have stomach cramps. We were sleeping together more and more often, and I thought Shinyan and I had finally found our spring. Who would have thought that Qinwen, who had disappeared for 3 years, suddenly came back. The day Qinwen returned was my birthday, and Shin Yan promised to have dinner with me that evening. I prepared a table full of delicious dishes, opened a bottle of red wine, and arranged beautiful flowers. But I waited and waited, and Shinyan still hadn't shown up. Even by 10 p.m. Shinyan wasn't answering his phone, and it wasn't until later that I found out Qinwen had come back. She happened to show up at the hotel where Shinyan was discussing a collaboration, and was nearly harassed by a portly investor. Shinyan, in a fit of fury for his beloved, violently attacked an investor who attempted to assault Qinwen. From that day on, Shinyan started leaving early and returning late. He invested heavily in acquiring the script to pave the way for Qinwen. With Shinyan backing her up, Qinwen's path to stardom is smooth sailing. She quickly went from an unknown newcomer to a trending young star, and in less than a year, became a sought-after leading actress in the industry. Qinwen rose from being an unknown newcomer to stardom, and many speculated that she had backing from powerful interests, but no one knew it was Xinyan. Xinyan and Qinwen were still mindful of keeping their distance in front of others. Xinyan never personally went to see Qinwen. He always had his assistant handle it. Even when meeting Qinwen alone, he brought his assistant along. Had it not been for this car accident, no one would have ever connected them. Xinyan never hid from me the help he gave to Qinwen, and I, in turn, turned a blind eye to it. Pretending not to notice, I've been telling myself that after all these years of persistence, I'm finally about to see the light at the end of the tunnel, especially after I found out I was pregnant. I told Xinyan the news. He was very happy and stayed home with me for a few days. I thought it was a good start. I thought Xinyan would cut ties with Qinwen because of my pregnancy and the child. Little did I expect that an unexpected car accident would bring everything to light. The crash video kept playing on a loop on the phone in front of me. I watched Xinyan protect Qinwen, his face etched with panic. I watched him scream at the ambulance, demanding they take the unconscious Qinwen to the hospital first, completely ignoring me lying motionless in the passenger seat, blood streaming down. Xinyan truly, deeply loves Qinwen, even though I've come between them for 5 years, even though I forcibly kept Xinyan by my side for 5 years, trapping him in a marriage, I still couldn't sever the bond between them. I once fantasized about warming Xinyan's heart and using a child to tie her down. Now it seems like a joke. Looking at my own pitiful reflection, face covered in blood, I noticed that throughout the entire time, Xinyan's gaze never lingered on me for even a second as I lay unconscious and bleeding. My heart is frozen solid, chilled to the bone. If it weren't for this car accident, I would still be foolishly holding on to my love for Xinyan, still believing that he would be moved by me and that a miracle would happen, him falling for me. But now, after hitting a dead end and getting bruised and battered, I suddenly realized that all my past persistence and love seemed like a joke. I kept asking myself over and over, was it worth it? For a man who never had you in his heart, were all these years of devotion worth it? The answer was clear in the end, it wasn't worth it. I always believed that loving Xinyan and being with him was something I had to do in my life, but now, I regret it. I think I might not like Xinyan that much anymore, for I was hospitalized for a week, and during that time, Xinyan didn't show up even once, not even a single call or message. His assistant did come to the hospital room to visit me, bringing some food and drinks. The assistant told me that Xinyan has been very busy lately and has no time, as he is handling a major cross-border merger. When the assistant was making excuses for Xinyan, she looked at me with evasive eyes that carried a hint of pity. He knows how much I love Xinyan, how much of a simp I am. He thought I didn't know that Xinyan was in the VIP ward on the same floor as me, staying with Qinwen. In fact, ever since I woke up, I've been aware of every move Xinyan makes, sent by Qinwen. After all, Xinyan, Qinwen, and I were once classmates, so I added Qinwen's contact information. Those who are favored feel emboldened to act without fear. Qinwen knew that Xinyan and I were married, yet she didn't feel the slightest bit uneasy about it. Instead, she brazenly sent me updates about Xinyan and herself. While I was in excruciating pain from a fractured leg, I saw Xinyan staying by Qinwen's hospital bed, holding her gently and whispering soothing words as she regained consciousness from her coma. When I was in so much pain that I couldn't eat and tears were streaming down my face, I watched Xinyan peel apples and oranges for Qinwen, feeding her meals and soup. When I had trouble using the bathroom due to a fractured leg, I saw Xinyan considerately helping Qinwen to the restroom. I watched Qinwen wrap her arms around his neck, acting spoiled, and then saw her take the initiative to kiss Xinyan on the cheek. Xinyan did not push Qinwen away. He silently allowed this boundary-crossing behavior. Kissing is just the first step. Next, they should engage in more intimate contact. After all, it's a premium ward. You can do whatever you want without any concerns. I imagined all the intimate things they would do next, just naturally taking off their clothes and doing what any normal man and woman would do. I thought I would be heartbroken, throwing things hysterically and crying uncontrollably, but none of this happened. It's not that I wasn't hurt, but the pain gradually faded with each intimate, ambiguous moment between Xinyan and Qinwen. Especially when I saw Xinyan and Qinwen kissing, I felt a sense of relief. In the 5 years of our marriage, Xinyan never once kissed me. He's willing to sleep with me, but he never kisses. I once came across a saying that sex between a man and a woman is a normal physiological response. If you want it, you do it. But kissing is different. Only those who are deeply in love would kiss, otherwise, the touch of lips would feel disgusting and unbearable. So Xinyan only sleeps with me but never kisses me because he doesn't love me. He just sees me as a tool to vent his desires. It could be anyone. I hold no special place in Xinyan's heart. After realizing this, I let out a bitter laugh. Nothing is more sorrowful than a dead heart. That is exactly what I am experiencing right now. I know my love for Xinyan has faded, and I feel lost. I don't know what to do next. There is also a little life inside me that I have been longing for. Once, I wanted to use this little life as a bond to tie Xinyan down, but now I know that Xinyan doesn't care at all about the little life growing inside me. I'm torn. I don't know whether to have this baby or not. I am capable of raising this child and can ensure that they will have a comfortable life with no worries about food or clothing, but he is Xinyan's child. He carries half of Xinyan's blood in his veins. He doesn't belong to me alone. Keeping him means I will continue to be tied to Xinyan. Even though Xinyan doesn't look forward to his birth, this child will still create a connection between us, and I don't want to have anything to do with Xinyan anymore. Just as I was struggling with the decision of whether to keep the child, something happened to Qinwen again. 5. Qinwen and Xinyan have been trending on social media nonstop for the past week. One is a wealthy CEO, handsome, charming, and loaded. The other is a top trending actress, beautiful, talented, and adored by countless fans. The love story of Xinyan and Qinwen moved many who did not know the truth. They celebrated and praised the love story of Xinyan and Qinwen. And within just 1 week, Qinwen's fan base surged by over 30 million. Qinwen has become incredibly popular, fully capitalizing on the traffic dividends. Countless endorsement offers came flooding in, with a packed schedule of reality shows, TV series, and film offers. Qinwen's market value has multiplied several times over. Her fame is unprecedented and unmatched, and just at that moment, someone leaked a video online of Xinyan and me getting our marriage certificate. Qinwen and Xinyan's picture-perfect romance quickly backfired. The more fans had adored them before, the more disgusted they are with them now. Qinwen, knowingly being the third party, went viral on the trending list with explosive popularity. Lin Shanshan saw the news and called me immediately. She gloated, "This is hilarious. Even Qin Shaosan got what was coming to him. I heard the penalty is several billion. Haha, Qin Shaosan must be panicking like crazy right now. She couldn't pay that even if she sold everything she owns. No way. I need to go leave more comments and crush that. Qin Shaosan." I stared at the trending topic about Qinwen being a knowing third party on my phone, but something in my gut told me it wasn't that simple. This trending topic popping up at this moment feels off. It gives off a conspiratorial vibe, and just by instinct, I knew Xinyan wouldn't stand by and do nothing. He would definitely help Qinwen, but how exactly would he help Qinwen? I had a faint suspicion, though I wasn't sure yet. Just then, the door to my hospital room was kicked open, and Xinyan, who hadn't shown up for a week, stormed in furiously. He stormed over to my bedside, glaring at me. "It was you, wasn't it, Su Zhen? How can you be so shameless? Do you have any idea what the consequences of your actions are? Let me tell you." Qinwen just slit her wrists. Xinyan fired off a rapid barrage of words at me, even reaching out to grab my shoulders and shake me dizzy from his shaking. I pried his hands off me and blurted out in denial, "It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Who else could it be but you? Tell me, who else hates Qinwen this much?" Qinwen's assistant followed along and dropped to her knees in front of me with a thud. Our Wenbao has a severe mental illness. She had just recovered when she encountered something like this. "Miss Su, you've gone too far." Qinwen's assistant knows that Xinyan and I are married, yet she still calls me Miss Su, tears streaming down her face. She poured out the tragic situation of Qinwen to me, accusing me of being despicable and shameless. I never dreamed things would turn out this way. I have a clear conscience. I really didn't do it. I mechanically denied it. It wasn't me. It really wasn't me. I swear I didn't do it. My explanation was weak and unconvincing, because Xinyan didn't believe me. He continued to berate me. "Back then, you shamelessly and despicably tore us apart, and now you've stooped to such a disgraceful act again. Su Zhen, do you really think I wouldn't dare to touch you?" Xinyan looked at me as if I were something filthy, and he brought up how we slept together back then, which drove Qinwen away. This has always been a sore point for Xinyan. He firmly believes that I shamelessly schemed against him, tearing him apart from Qinwen, but I really don't have any. As much as I like him, I have never stooped to such a despicable act. I don't know what really happened back then, at the time, because I loved Xinyan. Being misunderstood didn't upset me much. I was still overjoyed to become his wife, but now, when Xinyan hurled insults at me in front of Qinwen's assistant, once again tearing open the old fig leaf of shame, my face flushed bright red with embarrassment. I was utterly ashamed. I'm so mortified. I wish the ground would open up and swallow me whole, as I was so mortified and ashamed that I wanted to die. I heard Xinyan's voice, distant yet clear. Su Zhen, how do you think we should resolve this? 6. I have no idea how to solve this. After all, I had absolutely nothing to do with this. I've been wronged. I felt deeply wronged, my eyes misting over. I held back the sting in my nose and fought to keep my tears in check as I looked at Xinyan. He is staring at me with a look of utter disappointment. Just like 5 years ago, we grew up together as childhood sweethearts, and we are engaged to be married. But after Qin Wen's sudden arrival, his favor tipped toward her. He loves Qin Wen and trusts her unconditionally. He never takes my side, not even once. He never gives me a chance. I'm such an irredeemably stupid person. I regret all the love and all the youth I gave away. If I had known it would come to this, I would never have gotten involved. Xinyan was still waiting for my response. Seeing my silence, he pressed harder. Su Zhen, you must pay for your shamelessness. You started this, so you have to face the consequences. So how do you want me to take responsibility? I told myself not to cry. It's not worth it, but my voice still trembled, choked with sobs. 2 options. First, you make a public statement to clear Qin Wen's name from those mistress rumors, then go apologize to Qin Wen, swear you'll never make this mistake again. For the sake of the child, I'll forgive you. I'm not clarifying anything. I didn't do anything like that, so I won't clarify, and I definitely won't apologize. So what's the second demand? The second demand is that we get a divorce. I laughed silently. So forcing me to divorce was Xinyan and Qin Wen's real intention all along, wasn't it? They are the ones at fault. There is no justification for them to force me into a divorce while I'm pregnant, so they staged this whole drama to pressure me. It seems I have no other choice. I answered clearly, word by word. I choose divorce. Xinyan, let's part ways here and never bother each other again. As my words fell, I saw Xinyan's expression turn even uglier. He glared at me angrily. Su Zhen, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. I'm telling you, I'm only indulging you because you're pregnant. Are you sure you won't apologize, admit your mistake, or clarify things? Has he ever indulged me? I never would have imagined that he once indulged me. So, his coldness, his indifference, his condescension, and his indiscriminate accusations against me, are these all considered leniency toward me in Xinyan's eyes? Xinyan's indulgence is too unconventional for me to bear. Xinyan kept pushing me. Is it really that hard for you to just apologize and clarify? You dare to do it but not own up to it. No apology, I replied, enunciating each word clearly. Xinyan, we're getting a divorce. Don't even think about an apology. Is this what you want? Don't blame me. Xinyan stormed out, with Qin Wen's assistant following closely behind. As she left, she turned and gave me a meaningful look. The malice in their eyes is completely undisguised. 2 hours later, Xinyan's social media account posted a brief message, divorced. It's a normal relationship, not an affair. I refuse to apologize. Xinyan made his decision in his own way. The scandal that Qin Wen was a mistress was instantly reversed by Xinyan's clarification. Xinyan moved quickly. That very evening, he came to my hospital room again, holding the divorce agreement prepared by the lawyer. He looked at me sarcastically. This is what you wanted, right? Take a look, and if there's no problem, just sign it. I silently took the divorce agreement and began to scrutinize it carefully, while Xinyan paced restlessly around the hospital room. The divorce agreement was very long. After all, Xinyan and I had been married for 5 years, and the property division alone took up several pages. I carefully examined the amount I was entitled to. Xinyan wasn't being stingy. My share of jewelry, real estate, stocks, funds, and cars were all listed. The divorce between Xinyan and me involves too many entanglements. There's no way the property division could be sorted out so clearly in just a few hours, so this divorce agreement definitely wasn't prepared today. Xinyan must have started preparing ever since Qin Wen returned. I thought that by playing the ostrich, burying my head in the sand and pretending not to see or hear anything, I could make Xinyan feel pity for me and keep him tied down. I'm such an idiot. 7. As I let out a sigh, Xinyan, who had been pacing all along, came to a stop. He must be worried that I won't sign, so he's trying to persuade me. Su Zhen, I can't stand by and watch Qin Wen's reputation get destroyed like this, nor can I let her career collapse and face massive penalty fees. She's worked so hard to get where she is today. This is what you and I owe her. So let's get a divorce first, and once this storm passes, we'll remarry. Xinyan really took me for a complete fool, afraid I wouldn't get a divorce and kept lying to me. Without a word, I carefully read through the entire divorce agreement before looking up at Shinyan. Whether out of guilt or some other reason, Shinyan actually didn't dare to look at me. He avoided meeting my eyes. My gaze fell on his handsome, captivating face that had haunted my dreams, trying to find the reason why I had once rushed headlong into this like a moth to a flame. But after staring for a long while, I couldn't find a single reason that made my heart flutter. The terms Shinyan offered in the divorce agreement were generous, and I had no reason to refuse. I averted my gaze, grabbed the pen that Shinyan handed me along with the divorce papers, and signed my name at the bottom. After signing, I placed the divorce agreement on the nightstand. Shinyan's gaze lingered on my signature for a long moment. Then he said slowly, "How's your leg now?" I don't understand why he's asking about my leg at a time like this. Maybe out of guilt, or maybe he's just trying to make conversation. I didn't answer. Shinyan, unable to get a response from me, said again, the baby is fine. I asked the doctor, after the divorce, I'll arrange for my assistant to take care of your life. I'm sorry I wasn't there during your pregnancy. I'll have my assistant accompany you to future prenatal checkups. You can reach out to me anytime if you need anything else. We're already divorced, and you're saying such sappy things. Who are you trying to disgust? A wave of nausea rose in my stomach, and I cut off Shinyan. No need. To avoid damaging Qin Wen's reputation, it's best if we have nothing to do with each other from now on. You can leave now. We'll just go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get our marriage certificate in a month. Shinyan didn't leave. He actually stayed in the hospital room for another half hour, making small talk with me just to keep the conversation going. My expression was cold, my face full of impatience. The moment I put pen to paper and signed the divorce agreement, I had already made up my mind. I couldn't keep the child. I'm going to abort the child and part ways with Shinyani, never to cross paths again. Shinyan was eventually called away by a phone call from Qin Wen, who was on the verge of tears, saying she had accidentally fallen and was in a lot of pain. After all, she was the woman he cherished most in his heart. Shinyan, burning with anxiety, immediately hurried away. The moment he left, I hobbled out of bed and limped to the obstetrics and gynecology department. It took less than an hour to get rid of the child. The anesthesia left me completely pain-free. After a single shot, I woke up back in the ward to rest. I struggled to sit up and found my phone flooded with calls and messages from my family and Shinyan's parents. They're all asking me what's going on between Shinyan and me. I didn't reply to Shinyan's parents. After all, I'm already divorced from him, and his family has nothing to do with me anymore. I have no responsibility or obligation to explain to Shinyan's parents why we are getting divorced. That's something Shinyan needs to handle on their own. I briefly told my parents and Lin Shanshan about my divorce from Shinyan. My parents were furious. They yelled at Shinyan over the phone and threatened to settle the score with him. Neither set of parents knows about my pregnancy, and I haven't told my own parents that I've already had the abortion. Just tell them there's no need to bother Shinyan. He was very generous to me in the divorce. I can handle matters between me and Shinyan myself, so there's no need for them to get involved. After hanging up on my parents, I booked an expensive postpartum care center. 2 hours later, I left the hospital in the postpartum care center's shuttle. The postpartum care center, costing hundreds of thousands a month, truly offers a comfortable environment. After settling in, I drank the nourishing soup prepared by my caregiver and fell into a deep sleep. Shinyan called me the day after I checked into the postpartum care center. I didn't answer, so he sent me a message asking, Xiao Zhang said the doctor told you to be discharged today. I think it's better for you to stay in the hospital for now. After all, your leg hasn't fully recovered yet, and on top of that, you're pregnant. Why not stay a few more days in the hospital? I just find it ridiculous and can't be bothered to reply. Shinyan then sent another message. I've already explained to my parents that the divorce was forced by circumstances and that we'll remarry. You should use the same explanation for your parents too. By the way, if you need anything, just let me know, or you can tell Xiao Zhang, you really were in the wrong here, and I had no choice. Circumstances forced my hand. Watching his explanations, which seemed meant to pacify me, I had a gut feeling that he had some ulterior motive. I continued to ignore it. Later, Shinyan sent another message. Xinjin, I've decided to let Qin Wen move into our wedding house starting today. After you're discharged from the hospital, you can move to the villa in the suburbs. The air is fresher there, and the environment is better for you to rest and take care of the pregnancy. The wedding house was clearly awarded to me during the divorce property division. What does Shinyan mean by doing this? I still ignored him, but Shinyan went on to say, by the way, there's one more thing I need you to help clarify. It's about the rumors of Qinwen being the other woman. Some people are still questioning whether she's a mistress. To be on the safe side, just take a moment to post on your social media that we got divorced 6 months ago, so we can put an end to this. Once and for all, this is absolutely outrageous. Even a clay figurine has its temper, doesn't it? How can they be so reckless and so brazen? I've had enough. I typed out each word deliberately. Xinyan, I have my limits too. Don't push me too far. You and Qinwen. After the message was sent, Xinyan's side backed down. Maybe he realized he was pushing me too hard, so he softened his tone. Don't be mad. Getting angry isn't good for the baby. I'll reconsider the matter of Qinwen staying in our wedding house. You don't need to issue a clarification statement either. Even though Xinyan made a concession, I still feel really choked up inside. What the hell is all this? Xinyan put down his phone and turned to Qinwen, who was sitting beside him. Find yourself another place to stay. The wedding house isn't convenient. Qinwen pouted her lips. Is Suzhen refusing to agree? Xinyan shook his head. It's not that she refused. I just don't see the point. I have so many properties under my name. You can live in any of them. There's no need to insist on moving into our wedding home. Qinwen forced a reluctant smile and nodded at Xinyan's words, then asked, will Suzhen issue a statement clearing me of being the other woman? Absolutely not. She's pregnant, and I didn't want to upset her. Besides, I've already released a clarification statement. There's no need to keep hounding her. Xinyan's reply made Qinwen's eyes darken. Fine, have it your way, but since we're almost at your wedding house, why not let me take a look inside? I'm curious about how you've decorated it. This time, Xinyan did not refuse. 9. Xinyan led Qinwen into his and Suzhen's wedding room, where Qinwen looked around and let out gasps of admiration. She had no sense of discretion. After wandering around downstairs for a bit, she asked to go upstairs for a tour, preoccupied with his own thoughts. Xinyan nodded perfunctorily to Qinwen. After watching her enter the elevator, he stood by the floor-to-ceiling window and called his assistant, Zhang. The young mistress will be discharged from the hospital in a few days. First, go and find a few top-rated, highly recommended nannies experienced in caring for pregnant women, so they can attend to the young mistress closely after she leaves the hospital. By the way, there's a pink diamond that the young madam likes at the auction the day after tomorrow. Make sure to arrange for someone to bid on it and give it to her. Xiao Zhang agreed one by one, and Xinyan let out a breath after hanging up the phone. He has been busy taking care of Qinwen these past few days, neglecting Suzhen, who is pregnant. He had always thought that Suzhen would make a scene with him over the child in her belly, but to Xinyan's surprise, Suzhen remained quiet all along. Despite all the commotion outside, Suzhen never gave him a single call or sent him a single message. Her silence made Xinyan's heart uneasy with fear. He actually wanted to clarify the trending topic about him and Qinwen when he saw it on the day he was admitted to the hospital. It was Qinwen's assistant who stopped him. Weeping bitterly, Qinwen's assistant told Xinyan that Qinwen had been through a really tough time over the years. She said she fell into depression because of Xinyan and spent 3 years receiving treatment abroad before recovering. Then, to make a living, she worked as an extra on film sets, taking on small roles just to put food on the table. Qinwen's assistant told Xinyan that Qinwen had attempted suicide by slitting her wrists 3 times. And the deep scars on her wrists have never been able to heal completely. The assistant said Qinwen had finally come across such a rare opportunity and begged Xinyan to help her out. Xinyan's heart softened at the sight of the wound on the unconscious Qinwen's wrist. He and Qinwen had truly loved each other from the bottom of their hearts. Qinwen was an excellent student, and if she hadn't been in a relationship with him, she wouldn't have ended up like this. Xinyan felt guilty toward Qinwen and wanted to make it up to her. Because he failed to release a clarification statement immediately, the situation spiraled out of control. Xinyan never expected Suzhen to do something so outrageous. She actually spread the news that Qinwen is the other woman. When the news broke that Qinwen was the other woman, she went berserk and grabbed a knife, trying to kill herself. Xinyan had the doctor administer a sedative to Qinwen, then went to confront Suzhen for an explanation. He didn't want a divorce. After all, Suzhen was carrying his child. He just wanted to force Suzhen to admit fault and apologize, giving him 2 options specifically as a lesson to remember. He was certain that Suzhen would choose the first option, but never expected her to resolutely opt for divorce. Xinyan was furious at Suzhen's choice. Suzhen was really pushing her luck, spoiled rotten by her own doing. She did something wrong and showed no remorse at all, acting so arrogantly. She thinks I wouldn't dare touch her. doesn't she? She's using the child in her womb to blackmail me. Sujin is hopeless, driven by Sujin's stubborn refusal to see reason. Shin Yan, in a fit of rage, posted that clarification message. A lie requires countless lies to cover it up. He had put himself in a position where he had no choice but to divorce Sujin, determined to prevent anyone from using him to hurt Qinwen again. Shin Yan thought this was for the best. It would teach Sujin a lesson and make her change her habit of scheming at every turn. Shin Yan wasn't the least bit worried about losing control of the situation. He knew how much Sujin loved him. Shin Yan knew she would do anything for him. He knew Sujin would surely understand him. He had the lawyer draft the divorce papers, and as he took them to Sujin's hospital room, he had already imagined how Sujin would react. She will surely be heartbroken, questioning herself why, and will inevitably make a huge scene using the child in her womb as leverage. But Sujin remained silent. Without uttering a single word, she quietly read through the divorce agreement and signed her name from start to finish. Sujin showed no sign of sadness or heartbreak, nor did she cling or plead. Her calmness unsettled Shin Yan to the core. Shin Yan tried to strike up a conversation, but Sujin showed little interest. She didn't utter a single word in reply, and Shin Yan even caught a hint of impatience on her face. Shin Yan's heart felt heavy. He actually wanted to apologize to Sujin, to say he was sorry. He wanted to promise that this would be the last time he helped Qinwen, but the words just wouldn't come out. After 5 years of marriage to Sujin, he had grown accustomed to being in a position of authority, giving orders, and taking her tolerance for granted. It had never crossed his mind that one day he would have to apologize and admit his mistakes to her. Besides, Sujin was the one who made the mistake this time, and Shin Yan believed he was not in the wrong. Shin Yan fled Sujin's ward, almost in a panic. Shin Yan felt a hollow emptiness inside. Seeing Qinwen looking so pitiful and tear-stained, he no longer felt the same pang of sympathy as before. He stared absent-mindedly at his phone, thinking that with Sujin's obsessive infatuation with him, it wouldn't take more than a few hours before she'd regret it, come crying and begging for forgiveness, and ask him to take back his demand for a divorce. But after waiting 2 days, there was still no word from Sujin. Shin Yan glanced at his chat history with Sujin and realized that Sujin used to send him dozens of messages almost every day. Even if he never has time to read it, even if he never replies, Sujin still finds it all worthwhile now. His chat with Sujin had stopped a week ago, frozen on the day of the car accident. It's been so long since Sujin last reached out to me on her own. Why did she suddenly change her habits? Shin Yan couldn't figure out why, but Qinwen, with a pitiful look, made another request to convince her fans that she and Shin Yan were in a passionate relationship. She wanted to move into the $2 billion villa under his name. Qinwen also said Sujin needed to issue a statement confirming that she and Shin Yan had already divorced long ago. In order to clear her name, Qinwen demanded to stay in the villa that was the wedding home of Shin Yan and Sujin. Having Sujin issue a statement was also not on Shin Yan's mind. He didn't agree right away. Instead, he sent Sujin a message. Sujin did not reply, remaining silent as always. Shin Yan grew even more panicked, feeling as though something was slipping out of his control. For the first time, he had a new realization. Sujin didn't love him as much as he thought. After all, Sujin didn't care at all about his interactions with Qinwen, even if he was just going through the motions. Sujin shouldn't have been so cold about it. After sending the message, Shin Yan was distracted, staring at his phone, waiting. Finally, Sujin's reply came. She was furious, telling Shin Yan not to go too far. Shin Yan felt a huge weight lift off his shoulders. Sujin wasn't indifferent, she was just too sensible. She knew that throwing a tantrum wouldn't change anything. She loves herself so much that she indulges all her unreasonable demands. Shin Yan felt a bitter taste in his heart, and he silently vowed that this would be the last time. Once he helped Qinwen safely through this crisis, he will cut ties with her. When the time comes, he will re-register his marriage with Sujin and give her a grand wedding. After all, he and Sujin didn't hold a wedding banquet when they got married. Sujin's response put Shin Yan's mind at ease, and he finally had the time to think about Qinwen. It's been quite a while since Qinwen went upstairs. Why hasn't she come down yet? What the hell is she doing upstairs? Thinking of Shin Yan, she quickly went upstairs, calling out Qinwen's name as she went. After calling Qinwen's name a few times, he finally heard her reply. To his surprise, Qinwen was actually in his and Sujin's bedroom. What is she doing in her and Sujin's bedroom? Shin Yan quickened his pace and pushed open the door, only to be greeted by a sight that left him utterly stunned. Shin Yan stepped back, and I thought it was all over. Who would have thought that 2 hours later, Qin Wen sent over a few photos. The background turned out to be the bedroom of Mai and Xinyan's wedding house. With her fair legs wrapped around Xinyan's waist, the king-sized bed in the bedroom was a mess, with Qin Wen's lingerie scattered across the floor. It goes without saying what they were doing in the bedroom. I never expected Xinyan to stoop so low. I was utterly disgusted, leaning against the sink as I threw up violently. After signing the divorce agreement with Xinyan, I never planned to return to our marital home. Now that I've seen Xinyan and Qin Wen doing such shameless things in the wedding room, there's no way I'm going back to live there. I continued to ignore Xinyan, but he seemed like a different person, constantly sending me messages, trying to make small talk. A week after I checked into the postpartum care center, Xinyan messaged me again. "Where are you right now? Xiao Zhang went to pick you up from the hospital only to find out you'd already been discharged. He checked the wedding house but couldn't find you either. Where have you moved to? We're already divorced, so where I go is none of his damn business." I didn't want to reply a single word, but Xinyan showed no sign of stopping. "Xinjin, are you mad at me? Say something, please, even if it's just to yell at me. I don't care, you're pregnant now, so whatever you do, don't bottle up your anger. It's bad for the baby." "Xinjin, how about we meet? Let me come to you. Just tell me where you are, and I'll be right there." I don't understand what Xinyan is trying to achieve by sending these messages now. I've been married to him for 5 years, and the messages he voluntarily sent me today alone outnumber all the ones he sent in our entire marriage. What the hell does he want? Could Xinyan really be thinking of having it all, enjoying intimacy with Qin Wen to the fullest, and then, once he's tired of her, coming back to remarry me? How can he be so disgusting? I'm done seeing these meaningless, sickening messages. So I blocked Xinyan. I even blocked Xinyan's assistant, Xiao Zhang. Along with him, finally, peace and quiet. Now I'm just waiting to get the divorce certificate. 11. What surprised me was that, instead of getting the hint when I ignored him, Xinyan actually went to my parents to ask about my whereabouts. My parents simply had someone throw him out. Xinyan had no choice but to go to Lin Shanshan again to ask about me. Lin Shanshan wasn't going to let Xinyan off easy either, showering him with sarcastic remarks and naturally keeping my whereabouts a secret. Lin Shanshan stood by me unconditionally. "That scumbag Shen probably thought you were at my place, so he showed up with your favorite fruits and pastries, holding a bouquet of flowers." I didn't hold back and gave him a thorough scolding, but he didn't talk back. He patiently asked me to tell him where you were, saying he was worried about you, afraid you might do something drastic, and mentioned you're pregnant. How ridiculous. When the car accident happened, why didn't he think about you being pregnant? When he went public with that Mistress Qin, why didn't he consider you were carrying his child? Now that you've divorced him cleanly, he puts on this act. I wonder if he's suddenly realized your worth and regrets everything. Of course not. How do you know he wouldn't? Come to think of it, you and Xinyan have known each other since childhood, and he was really good to you back then. If it weren't for that bitch Qin Wen butting in, you two wouldn't have ended up like this. Lin Shanshan was probably the only one who knew the whole story between Xinyan and me. She kept rambling on. "I've been watching that scumbag Shen. He looks haggard, completely lacking his usual swagger. When he mentioned you, his tone was full of worry, not just for you, but for the baby in your belly. I wonder what his face would look like if he found out you've already gotten rid of the child. He won't show any expression, let alone sadness or grief. After all, if he wants a child, he can just have one with Qin Wen." That scumbag Shen said there's nothing between him and Qin Wen. He just felt sorry for her and wanted to help her out. He claims their relationship is completely innocent. I calmly forwarded the photos Qin Wen sent me to Lin Shanshan. Lin Shanshan had been to the wedding house Xinyan and I shared, and the moment she saw the photo, she completely lost it. "Damn, that pair of scumbags, how dare they? This is absolutely disgusting, doing that kind of thing on your wedding bed." "Xinjin, you can't let those two bastards off the hook. Holy shit, go after them. Expose those photos Qin the homewrecker sent to provoke you. Let everyone know what kind of trash Qin and Shen the jerk really are. Ruin Qin's reputation, make her lose everything." Faced with Lin Shanshan's righteous indignation, I remained calm. "Shanshan, I've already let it go completely. In about 10 days, all of this will be over for good. I don't want to stir up any more trouble." Lin Shanshan angrily cursed Xinyan and Qin Wen's ancestors for 8 generations with every swear word she could think of before hanging up the phone in frustration. I continued to recover at the postpartum care center, eating well, drinking well, and sleeping well. The nutritious meals at the postpartum care center are delicious, and the garden there is also very beautiful. All I do every day is eat, take a walk, scroll through my phone, and sleep. At first, news about Xinyan and Qinwen would occasionally pop up on the trending searches. For example, Xinyan poured his heart and soul into creating a period drama for Qinwen that is arguably the hottest show of the year. The lead actor is a wildly popular A-list movie star, and even the minor supporting roles feature several industry veterans with impeccable reputations. For instance, Xinyan and Qinwen went to a restaurant for a candlelit dinner, or they went camping together to watch a meteor shower. A reporter stopped Qinwen to ask about her and Xinyan's happy news. Qinwen coyly replied, "No comment." The next day, she was sporting a massive diamond ring on her finger. Everyone thought Xinyan and Qinwen were about to tie the knot, but the next day, paparazzi on the lookout spotted Xinyan and Qinwen apparently having an argument. In short, the two of them kept trending non-stop, and I watched it all unfold like a drama series. Time flew by, and soon it was the day for Xinyan and me to get our divorce certificate. I unblocked Xinyan and sent him a message. "Don't forget to pick up the divorce certificate tomorrow morning, 12. As soon as the message was sent, Xinyan sent back a stream of voice messages. "Xinjin, where have you been all this time? Why did you block me? Do you have any idea how worried I was? I've been searching for you like crazy. By the way, are you and the child doing okay? Where are you now? I'll come find you right away." I frowned. "No need to meet. Just don't forget to show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow." Xinyan sent a string of voice messages, but after selectively listening to a few, I lost interest. At 9 o'clock the next morning, I drove to the Civil Affairs Bureau. When I parked the car, I saw that Xinyanren had already arrived long before. As I got out of the car, he quickly walked up to greet me. "Xinjin, go on in." I nodded coldly and stepped up onto the stairs. Xinyan caught up and grabbed my hand. "Xinjin, if you're unhappy, we can put the divorce on hold for now." This made me stop in my tracks and stare at Xinyan in surprise. "What do you mean by that?" "What I mean is, the buzz about Qinwen and me has already died down now. As long as no one's keeping an eye on us, we don't actually need to go through with getting a real divorce and getting the certificate." I never expected Xinyan to say something like that, so I just forcefully shook off his hand. "Does Qinwen know what you mean?" "I don't know yet, but I think she'll understand. You'd better talk it over with Qinwen first, don't you think?" I reminded him with a straight face. Xinyan had no intention of discussing it with Qinwen. He grabbed my hand again and said, "Xinjin, it's settled, let's go back first." I never thought I would back out on Xinyan at this moment. I shook off Xinyan's hand once more. "Xinyan, for the sake of Qinwen's career, you'd better go ahead and get the divorce certificate with me. After all, you can't hide the truth forever. As far as I know, Qinwen has a lot of endorsements, right? If people find out and expose everything between you two, the penalty fees won't be a small amount. Billions in penalties would send Qinwen straight to hell." Hearing me say this, Xinyan hesitated. Without paying him any attention, I quickly walked into the hall to take a number. While waiting for the divorce proceedings, Xinyan sat beside me, his gaze fixed on my belly. "Is the child behaving? Hasn't been giving you a hard time, has he?" "She," I asked indifferently. "What do you think?" I looked it up online, and everyone says pregnancy comes with morning sickness and can be really tough. "I haven't heard from you in a while, and I've been so worried about you. How about I go with you to the hospital for a checkup later?" I gave a non-committal response. Xinyan actually thought I would be deeply moved, speaking in a soft, tender, and affectionate tone. "Xinjin, I've thought it through carefully. How about I personally accompany you to your prenatal checkups from now on? Don't worry about being photographed secretly. I'll handle everything. I'll go back with you later, and from now on, I'll live with you and take care of you." I was getting annoyed, so I glanced at the electronic screen and saw that my number was about to be called. Relieved, I stood up and said, "It's our turn." A few minutes later, Xinyan and I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, each holding a divorce certificate. Xinyan was originally walking side by side with me when Qinwen's assistant called, saying that Qinwen had been injured on set and asking him to come over. Surprisingly, Xinyan didn't rush over anxiously like he used to. Instead, he snapped in a harsh tone, "If she's injured, take her to the hospital and find a doctor. What's the point of calling me? I'm not a doctor." How strange. Wasn't he head over heels in love with Qinwen? How could such a huge change happen in just one short month? I couldn't figure it out, not wanting any contact with Xinyan. I quickened my pace and got into the car. By the time Xinyan hung up the phone, He saw my car start up and disappear from his sight in a flash. Shin Yan immediately called my phone, but after just one ring, I quickly blocked him. 13. With the divorce certificate in hand, the outcome between Shin Yan and me was sealed, and nothing between us could ever change. I called the lawyer and told him to start handling the assets Shin Yan allocated to me immediately, sell off any jewelry, real estate, and cars that can be liquidated, and transfer any stocks and funds that can be transferred immediately. I moved back into my own 500 square meter penthouse and invited Lin Shanshan to go out for drinks and late night snacks. Staying at the postpartum center all this time has been driving me crazy. Now that I'm single again, of course I have to have as much fun as possible. Lin Shanshan and I were having a blast, indulging in fine wine and food while admiring the eye candy of handsome guys. Without any pretense, just as we were having the time of our lives, Shin Yan showed up. Shin Yan, with a dark expression, brought his bodyguards to clear the place. The toned young guy with 8-pack abs that Lin Shanshan and I had ordered was escorted away by the guards. Lin Shanshan was the first to object. Shin Yan, what the hell do you mean? You ruined my fun, and this isn't over. Shin Yan looked at me and said, Shinjin, I've been looking for you all day, and I haven't even eaten yet. What's that supposed to mean? Do you really think I'd feel sorry for him just because he hasn't eaten? He's overthinking it. I looked at Shin Yan calmly and said, Mr. Shen, what do you want from me? We're already divorced. When I coldly addressed him as Mr. Shen, Shin Yan's face twisted like he'd just swallowed something foul. Shinjin, we agreed it was a fake divorce. Mr. Shen, we got divorced at the Civil Affairs Bureau. We both went there in person to handle it. You should know very well that there's no way it could be fake. Shin Yan was clearly panicking. Shinjin, I know you're upset. Let's go home. We can talk about this at home. Shin Yan reached out to grab me as he spoke, but Lin Shanshan shoved him away. What's your game now that you're divorced? Shin Yan, don't tell me you're trying to play both sides. Do you really think our Shinjin is some fool you can mess with? Enough, Lin Shanshan. This is between Su Zhan and me. Stay out of it. You know Su Zhan is pregnant. And you clearly know she can't drink. Yet you still drag her into this nonsense. Some friend you are. What happens between Shanshan and me is none of your business. I'll say it again, Shin Yan, we're divorced. I don't want any ties with my ex-husband, and I hope you feel the same way. Shin Yan acted as if he didn't understand me. He refused to leave, and I lost my patience. Shin Yan, if you keep this up, I'll notify the media. You wouldn't want to see the news of Qin Wen being a mistress trending again, would you, for Qin Wen's sake? Shin Yan backed down. He agreed to stop following me, but only if I promised not to drink alcohol and to go home early to rest instead of staying up late. After Shin Yan's outburst, Lin Shanshan and I were in a terrible mood. All the way home, she couldn't stop cursing him out. Nothing worth mentioning happened that night. The next morning, I was jolted awake by the doorbell. I opened the door and was greeted by an enormous teddy bear made of roses. Startled, I stepped back a foot or two, and Xiao Zhang emerged from behind the rose bear holding up an exquisite box. Madam, this is a pink diamond the CEO asked me to give you. I frowned and said sternly, take this back and tell Shin Yan to stop doing such pointless things. It makes me feel so cheap. Xiao Zhang was about to say something, but I had already picked up my phone and called security. A few minutes later, the security guard who arrived politely asked Xiao Zhang to leave. 14. After Xiao Zhang was kicked out, Shin Yan's mother came to see me again, still pleading for Shin Yan. Shinjin, I know Shin Yan really went too far this time. That brat, how could he treat you, his pregnant wife, this way for some shameless woman? Shin Yan actually told his parents about my pregnancy. Mrs. Shin's gaze softened a bit as she looked at me. Don't worry, I'll only acknowledge the child in your belly. No other random riffraff will ever set foot in the Shin family's door. After Shin Yan and I got married, his mother wasn't exactly kind to me. Because I only married him after we slept together. Shin's mother used to treat me fairly well, but after that incident, she started acting all high and mighty. The Shin family used my family's investment to expand their company and climb back to the top of the pyramid, yet Shin's mother showed me not a shred of gratitude. After I married Shin Yan, she constantly imposed rules on me. We've been married for 5 years without having a child, and she keeps insinuating that it's my fault. And because I loved Shin Yan, I put up with Mother Shin's sudden change of attitude. Now seeing Mother Shin still putting on that condescending air, I'm not going to indulge her. Auntie, a person needs face like a tree needs bark. Since we're divorced, we should just cut ties and never interact again. How can you have the nerve to say such shameless things to me? It was your son who cheated, wasn't it? He wanted a divorce for his mistress. And now I've given him what he wanted, shouldn't he be happily flying off with her? What's this act all about now? Is the Shin family short on funds again? Do you want my parents to inject more capital? My merciless words left Shin's mother's face black and blue. She fumed. Su Zhen, don't be ungrateful and force me to be harsh. Who gave you the nerve to speak to me, your elder, like that? Let me tell you, if you want to remarry Ian, you'd better show some respect. Don't think being pregnant is such a big deal. Women lining up to bear Ian's child. Stretch from the south end of the city to the north, then go find someone else. Why come to me? Got nothing better to do, Mrs. Shin stormed off in a huff. I thought that, with things having come to this point, Shin Yan's pride and self-respect would keep him from ever bothering me again. After I stood up to Mother Shin, I did enjoy a few days of peace. I was invited to Lin Shanshan's brother's birthday party, which is a week from now. Shin Yan is here too, coming alone. Lin Shanshan got angry the moment she saw Shin Yan. That disgusting jerk is here. Just seeing him brings bad luck. But why isn't he with his mistress today? As her voice trailed off, Qin Wen followed closely behind, dressed in an elegant gown. Qin Wen walked up to Shin Yan with a beaming smile and reached out to take his arm. Shin Yan actually stepped aside, and his evasive move humiliated Qin Wen in public, leaving her face dark with fury. Lin Shanshan was also taken aback. What's up with that jerk? How could he publicly embarrass his mistress? I don't care. I'm not interested. Let's go eat some good food. Lin Shanshan and I went hand in hand to the buffet area to grab some food, and Qin Wen followed along. She was holding a glass of red wine, and as she brushed past me, she stumbled, nearly spilling the entire glass right over my head. I was already on guard against her, so I quickly raised my hand to block, and the red wine splashed all over Qin Wen's face. She let out a scream, and soon someone heard the noise and came rushing over. Qin Wen accused me with a pitiful tone. Miss Su, I never provoked you. Why are you treating me like this? You're going too far. Before I could answer, Lin Shanshan spoke up first. You think you're worthy of our Jinjin's attention? You're way too full of yourself. I'm warning you, Qin Wen. This is Lin family territory. Every corner of this hall is under surveillance. Don't you dare pull your cheap tricks here, Yen. Qin Wen looked at Shin Yan with a pitiful expression, hoping for his help. Shin Yan's face showed irritation. Enough, go change your clothes. Don't you find this embarrassing? Qin Wen left, sobbing uncontrollably. Shin Yan didn't defend Qin Wen and drag me into this, so the matter finally came to an end. The birthday party was still going on, with some people chatting over glasses of wine and others starting to dance on the dance floor. It's common knowledge in our circle that Shin Yan and I got divorced. Now that everyone knows I'm single again, quite a few people have come up to hit on me. Just because I had a failed marriage with Shin Yan doesn't mean I'll stay single forever. I accepted dance invitations from several single men. While spinning on the dance floor, I kept feeling a pair of eyes fixed intensely on me. When I followed the gaze, it turned out to be Shin Yan. What the hell? Why is he staring at me? 15. Being stared at like that by Shin Yan made me feel uncomfortable both physically and mentally. During the break, I went to the lounge to rest, and Shin Yan followed me in like a persistent ghost. Shinjin, how can you wear high heels while pregnant, and you just drank alcohol? Don't you know that's bad for the baby? I shot back at him. None of your damn business. Shin Yan wasn't angry. Shinjin, Qin Wen didn't come with me. I came alone. I have no idea how she got in. You know there are many eyes on me right now. I have no choice. Under everyone's watchful gaze, I have to save face for Qin Wen. After all, I owe her that much. Seeing my cold, indifferent gaze, Shin Yan put on a hurt expression. Shinjin, you've changed. You weren't like this before. How could you smile at another man? You clearly said you only love me. Why did you break your promise? He confronted me, then followed up with an apology. I admit I didn't consider your feelings before, but now I know I was wrong. Shinjin, I miss you so much. I've been dreaming of you lately. Shin Yan, there's nothing left to say between us. Please stay away from me. No, Shinjin, you've hardened your heart. You know full well I've fallen for you, and you're playing me. He was talking to me while trying to hug me, and even attempted to kiss me. I struggled desperately, but I was no match for him. Shin Yan was strong from drinking, and he pushed me down onto the couch without care, pressing his lips to mine. At that moment, the lounge door was pushed open, and a woman's scream pierced the eardrums. Qin Wen stood outside the lounge, covering her mouth with tears in her eyes. Her scream drew a crowd, and as everyone looked at Shin Yan and me inside the lounge, they all wore expressions of shock because people were watching. Shin Yan let go of me, furious and seething. I raised my hand and slapped Xinyan across the face in front of everyone. Xinyan, if you dare to pester me again, don't blame me. Qinwen came over with concern to check the handprint on Xinyan's face. While I stood up and left, I felt really down on the way back. My heart was racing, and I had a nagging feeling that something bad was about to happen. Sure enough, the next morning, the messy situation involving me, Xinyan, and Qinwen made headlines again. Unlike the last time I trended, now I'd become public enemy number one. Last night, a video of Xinyan and me in the lounge was secretly recorded and leaked online. Not only that, but news of the entanglement between me, Xinyan, and Qinwen, how I inserted myself between them, schemed against Xinyan, and drove Qinwen away, also surfaced. Red Suzhen is a homewrecker. Suzhen is shameless and despicable. They've taken the top 2 spots on the trending list. Qinwen's fans tearfully denounced me, hurling all kinds of insults and abuse, unleashing their malice against me without restraint. My parents immediately arranged for someone to suppress the trending topic, but it was useless. Qinwen's fanbase is overwhelmingly huge, and for the sake of their idol, everyone ganged up on me. I've become the target of everyone's criticism. Xinyan called from a different number. Xinjin, I'll handle this, don't worry. I didn't ask him how to handle it and just hung up the phone directly. I wouldn't expect Xinyan to take my side and clear things up for me. The only person I can trust is myself. Before, because I loved Xinyan, I swallowed my pride and let them throw mud at me. But now that I no longer love Xinyan, why should I endure such humiliation? I objectively sorted out my relationships with Xin Yan and Qinwen. Before Qinwen showed up, Xinyan and I were always the couple everyone assumed was engaged. It was Qinwen who came between me and Xinyan, causing him to change his heart. I never intended to marry Xinyan, and there was never any scheming on my part toward him. That night, I was also a victim. As for now, Xinyan and I have been divorced for less than a month. Qinwen knew full well that Xinyan and I were legally married, yet she still intruded into our relationship. I placed the divorce certificate on the table. The date on it was still fresh, proving that what Xinyan previously said in Qinwen's defense, that we had been divorced for a long time, wasn't true. I also uploaded the intimate videos and photos of Qinwen provoking me and fooling around with Xinyan. In the end, I placed an abortion procedure consent form on top. 16. The backlash from public opinion came swiftly and fiercely. All the evidence I put out proves that Xinyan and I are not divorced. Qinwen came between Xinyan and me, and she did it while I was pregnant. The so-called perfect love story between Xinyan and Qinwen instantly crumbled. When fans saw the divorce certificate and miscarriage surgery record I threw out, they were furious, immediately switched sides and began to denounce Qinwen and Xinyan. The trending topics calling Qinwen and Xinyan a scumbag and a slut have replaced the negative trending searches about me. Outraged netizens demand that Qinwen apologize and exit the entertainment industry. Major brands have been terminating contracts with Qinwen and demanding compensation. Xinyan frantically switched numbers to call me, but I ignored him, so he came to my doorstep himself to block my way. I had no choice but to meet Xinyan. Why? Xinyan stared at my lower abdomen. Xinjin, the abortion was fake, wasn't it? You didn't touch our child, right? I frowned. How could it be fake? Xinyan, you slandered and targeted me like that for Qinwen. You don't seriously think I'd be stupid enough to keep the child, do you? But that was our child. She was innocent. You clearly loved her so much. That was before, when you hurled accusations at me for Qinwen, when you pinned baseless charges on me, when you forced me to choose between apologizing to Qinwen or admitting fault. By then, I had already made my decision. If you didn't want to, you could have told me. You could have just refused. Why did you plan it all on your own without a word? I had no choice back then, and I don't want to keep making the same mistakes. I reiterated to Xinyan once again. Xinyan, that accident between us was never something I planned. I never intended to drive Qinwen away. I am innocent. What's the point of saying all this now? Xinjin, can we go back to how things were? I'll tell Qinwen to leave, and we can start over. Absolutely not, Xinyan. I'd rather die than get tangled up with you again, because you make me sick. Xinjin, I never slept with Qinwen. She did come on to me, but I pushed her away in the end. You have to believe me. Does my belief even matter anymore? It doesn't. Xinyan, let's end this here. Stop pestering me. I slammed the door shut, hearing Xinyan sobbing from outside. Even he can feel sadness. I thought that was the end of it, but little did I know that wasn't the final outcome. A post that no one expected suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The poster claimed to be a witness from 5 years ago and provided video footage to clarify the incident of me and Xinyan hooking up. Back then I did not flirt with Xinyan, nor did I use any despicable tactics against him. It was all the work of Xinyan's mother. She had someone drug both Xinyan and me, then arranged for someone to carry my unconscious body into Xinyan's room. Xinyan's mother did this so that I could marry him and inject capital into the Xin family to help them overcome their financial difficulties. Everyone was stunned by this post that came out of nowhere. Xinyan's mother issued a statement denying it, claiming that I paid someone to turn the tables and falsely accuse them. Then someone else stepped forward and released a video of Xinyan's mother meeting Qin Wen at a coffee shop. In the video, Xinyan's mother gave Qin Wen 5 million yuan to leave Xinyan and go abroad. She also asked Qin Wen to play along in a charade, and Qin Wen agreed. International netizens also dug up details of Qin Wen's life abroad. She went to study in Germany, fell in love with a German man, but later suffered from infidelity and domestic violence. The so-called scars on her hands had nothing to do with depression. They were actually the result of domestic violence inflicted by her German boyfriend. Public outrage erupted, and the Xin family was universally condemned for their despicable and shameless acts. Xin's stock hit the daily limit down. The Xin family's troubles didn't end there. People dug up evidence of tax evasion, bribery, and even a cover up of a fatal accident at one of their construction sites. The Xin family's assets were seized, and Mr. and Mrs. Xin were taken in for investigation. Xinyan was summoned by the police multiple times, but Mr. and Mrs. Xin took full responsibility, shielding him from any involvement. In the end, Xinyan was not prosecuted. However, the Xin family business was too badly damaged to continue operating. Finally declared bankruptcy and liquidation. After Xinyan's company declared bankruptcy and went into liquidation, he called me to apologize. Xinjin, I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry. I hung up the phone in silence. Story 2. The power went out during the evening self-study session. Haley suddenly leaned in and kissed me, and the hand around my waist slipped under my clothes. I blushed with shame, yet felt a secret sweetness inside, thinking that my hopeless first love was finally bearing fruit. It wasn't until I was at Haley's house and heard his friend teasing him, "Did you check the goods with your own hands? Is the school committee member's figure hot?" Haley smiled meaningfully. "She's too hot. It's okay for some fun, but when it comes to having real feelings, I'd still go for someone as pure as the school beauty." I didn't make a sound. After turning around and leaving, I quietly applied for the recommended admission quota for the provincial team competition. Haley's words were like a bucket of ice water poured over my head in the spring. My pounding heart was instantly cooled down, leaving me embarrassed and at a loss. In Haley's house, his friends burst into laughter. "Not bad, the school committee member looks really promising. I heard Haley can get her tonight. After you're done, you have to share how she is with us. That figure of the school committee member is really something. We should record it and savor it later." Haley cursed with a laugh. "Scram, do you think I'm a porn video?" As if they had discovered something, they whistled again. "Wow, Haley, did you give this to the school committee member? These black silk stockings, suspenders, and lace are practically the same as not wearing anything. Haley, you're not going to let the school committee member come dressed like this, are you? So hot." Haley snatched the phone back and said casually, "I came across it by accident. It suits her, and she seems to like it a lot." Someone joked with him, "The school committee member has been chasing Haley for so long and is so attractive, she must be eager to show more. I just wonder if after tasting the strong flavor, Haley will find the school beauty too plain." Haley's voice suddenly became much more serious. "How can they be the same? All of you, behave yourselves. Maria is one thing, but don't scare Florence. The school beauty is Florence and I am Maria." I covered my lips, and tears of shame and embarrassment streamed down uncontrollably. I was shaking all over and only managed not to fall by leaning against the wall. The long overcoat I was wearing covered my whole body. Under the overcoat, however, was a choker with a pink ribbon, a black lace bra, suspender fishnet black silk stockings, and a bunny tail sticking out of a mini skirt. I was almost naked. It was exactly the set that Haley gave me from the very beginning. Haley was the one who kept crossing the line during class. He secretly hooked my hand under the desk, interlacing our fingers. I couldn't shake him off no matter how hard I tried. During the lunch break, I was resting on the desk when he came back from playing basketball. He propped one hand against the wall and trapped me in his embrace. The wild hormones rushed towards me. I blushed with shame and didn't know what to do. He picked up the water I had placed on the desk, tilted his head back. The glistening water droplets slid down his Adam's apple and landed on my collarbone, searing into my heart. He licked the water stains from the corner of his mouth and smiled wickedly. The school committee member. Smells so good, and the water is sweet too. At the sports meeting, the boys on both sides whistled and laughed at the way I was running, and I was extremely embarrassed. In the end, I fell down in a flustered state. It was also Haley who carried me to the infirmary. After the coming-of-age ceremony at 18, Haley couldn't wait any longer. He became bolder and crossed the line more and more with me. Taking advantage of the power outage during the evening self-study, he pressed me into his arms, our skins touching, and plundered me wantonly. I shyly tried to dodge, but he pinched and kissed me even more domineeringly. His magnetic and hoarse voice exploded in my heart. School committee member, I want you. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. He gave me small gifts that are usually only given between lovers. I put them on, feeling ashamed yet sweet, and went to the appointment full of joy. I thought that we finally loved each other, and secretly looked forward to the first bloom of my youth. But Haley's words shattered all my expectations and dignity. Word by word, it turned out that my sincere feelings were just the subject of their ridicule. The body that I was willing to show because of love was called hot and slut in their mouths. I foolishly thought that Haley finally liked me too, but the person he considered as his love interest from beginning to end was only Florence. I was the strong flavor that could be played with casually, while she was the treasure that couldn't be. Scared, it turned out that love or not, it could all be played with. When Haley's friends left, I hid in the stairwell. I covered my lips tightly, holding back my sobs, but the tears still welled up and spilled over. My phone vibrated and then stopped. Since Haley couldn't get through to me on the phone, he sent me several pictures. Haley, ultrathin 001 JPG. Haley, aren't you coming yet? Haley, which one do you like? Haley, do adults want them all? I didn't reply, and he sent more. Haley, does the little wildcat want to go for real? Haley, you should have the pills. I gripped my phone tightly, and the belated shame and embarrassment welled up in my heart. The endless sourness spread in my heart and gradually turned cold. I bit my lips, but the tears that I couldn't control just wouldn't stop. I wrapped my overcoat tightly around me and turned to leave. I cried so much that my eyes were swollen, and I took a half-day leave. In the afternoon, I entered the classroom after the teacher started the class. Haley stared at me intently, and the veins on his forehead bulged. He was angry that I stood him up the day before. He wrapped his arm around my waist from behind and pinched me warningly. I pushed his hand away with force, and he angrily pushed his elbow heavily onto my desk. He wrinkled my notebook and swept my stationery onto the floor. I didn't say anything and dodged his hand. I bent down to pick up the stationery. He poked his cheek with his tongue, and his eyes looked sinister as he stared at me. Halfway through the class, there was a sudden commotion on the playground downstairs. Someone had fainted. The classmates all went downstairs to see what was going on. The moment I saw that the person who had fainted was actually Florence, Haley suddenly tensed up, pursed his lips, and pushed me aside. Get out of the way. Ignoring the fact that the class was still going on in the classroom on the second floor, he stepped on my seat and jumped out of the window. After climbing down the tree trunk outside the window, he rushed towards the playground. He gently picked Florence up and carried her to the shade of the trees. When I and other classmates arrived at the playground, we happened to see Haley leaning down and kissing Florence. He put away his usual cynical attitude, and his movements were careful and restrained. It was as if he was protecting a fragile treasure, even though it was just artificial respiration. The girls all covered their faces and screamed. Haley also blushed. Florence let out a soft moan and finally woke up. Haley, her voice was soft and delicate. Haley gently stroked her hair, his eyes filled with tenderness and love. Yes, I'm here. He took off his school uniform jacket and draped it over Florence, then picked her up in his arms like a princess. The summer breeze carried a hint of youthful ambiguity. The prince who saved the princess treated her with care and solemnity. The screams around were almost deafening. I stood there, staring blankly at the scene. When Florence saw me, she bit her lips, shrank shyly and fearfully into Haley's arms, and pushed him softly. Haley, don't do this. Your girlfriend is still here. This isn't right. Haley turned his head to look at me, the tenderness in his eyes vanishing, replaced by sharpness and coldness. Girlfriend, does she even deserve that? I opened my mouth, but before I could say anything, Haley raised his hand and covered Florence's ears. Maria, don't think that just because I've touched you a few times, you have the right to interfere with me. If you dare to make things difficult for Florence, I will never forgive you. Leaning in his arms, Florence's seemingly innocent eyes flashed with a hint of triumph, and she gently curled the corner of her lips at me. My heart seemed to be torn apart, and the pain was unbearable. Why? He clearly likes Florence, so why did he still touch me? Why did he treat me as a tool to relieve his desires and humiliate me in front of everyone like this? He slandered me for being hot, speculated that I took drugs, and played with me wantonly, my body, my feelings, my self-esteem, even the friendship we had for so many years. It turned out that in his eyes, all of these meant nothing. I felt extremely ashamed and embarrassed. Tears welled up uncontrollably. I lowered my head and clutched the corner of my clothes, turning around and leaving. That night, the campus network was flooded with messages. "Ah, Haley is so handsome. No wonder he's the school bully. Who wouldn't fall for him?" Screenshot of his eyes. JPG. The school bully's eyes are so sincere. When will I be looked at with such loving eyes? By the way, that deskmate of the school bully, his childhood friend, is really hilarious. Not only does she keep pestering him and throwing herself at him, but she also insists on embarrassing herself in public. From what the school bully said, he's already opened the package and played with her several times. Maria, she's just a big-breasted and brainless vase. She looks like a seductive slut. She's probably already been played out. I heard she even asked the school bully to give her that kind of clothes to wear. The type of Maria is probably only liked by greasy old men, right? What rich and beautiful girl. Maybe she's already been taken care of. She probably has a bunch of sugar daddies behind her back. I'm so annoyed by her pestering Haley every day. The school beauty and the school bully are a perfect match. Okay, if this were a romance novel, she'd be the evil female supporting character. That's right. But now that they've sealed their love with a kiss, the school beauty will definitely be easily won over, and Haley only replied briefly in the thread discussing Florence. Haley, don't talk nonsense. It's not nice to girls. I stared blankly at the messages. My heart, which had already gone numb, ached again. I tilted my head back and took a deep breath to stop the tears from falling. It turns out that waking up from a dream really hurts. My phone vibrated. Leonard, senior sister, are you okay? Leonard, have you seen the campus network? Senior sister, if you haven't, don't look at it. Leonard, those people on the internet don't know senior sister at all. They have too much malice. Leonard is a junior from the same school who is on the same competition team as me. During the summer vacation, we had training together, participated in the competition, and won awards. The team members have a good relationship. I paused my finger that was about to reply, and then typed a few words. Maria, our provincial team won the gold award in the competition. Is there a recommended admission quota? Leonard, the team leader teacher said before that it's a pity for senior sister to give up such a good opportunity. It's good that senior sister has thought it through. I'm also going to apply, so I'll send senior sister a copy of the application form too. Leonard sent it almost instantly. Leonard, file zip. Maria, you're only a sophomore. Isn't it too early to apply for recommended admission? Leonard typed for a long time but didn't send anything. I simply stopped thinking about it and just replied, thank you. Can you keep the matter of the recommended admission a secret for me? Our team won the gold award in the competition, and the recommended admission is to some of the best universities in the country. Originally, I gave up the recommended admission quota because I wanted to go to the same university as Haley. My mother and Haley's mother are close friends. Haley and I are childhood sweethearts. We have been playing together since we were little, and we have been in the same class from primary school to high school. But after Haley's parents divorced, Haley's grades plummeted. He had no interest in studying and became carefree and cynical. He hung out with people who didn't seem like students, learned to smoke, drink, and fight, and became wild and unrestrained. He became a real school bully. But even so, in the eyes of many girls, he is still the young master of the Jiang family, the kind of guy who is bad but lovable. I didn't want to see him continue to degenerate. I tried to get close to him, understand him, and lead him back on the right path. Using the excuse of being his deskmate and the school committee member, I tutored him, pretending to be his childhood friend. I drove away his hooligan friends and forced him to go home obediently with me. I took care of him and chased after him, thinking that I could save him. Behind my back, they all said Maria is not Haley's girlfriend, but she always pestered him. Maria is a slutty girl who throws herself at Haley and is his lapdog. Maria has a big bust but no brains. She only knows how to seduce people with her body, but Haley still doesn't like her. I could pretend not to care about all these words until I heard that Haley also said such things. All my efforts and perseverance were like a joke. When Haley got close to me and kissed me, how excited I was when I heard those words. How heartbroken I was. I still can't help but think of that deep, sticky, and wet kiss in the dark. The wave of passion engulfed my breath, as if it would never fade away. That was my first kiss. It was also the first time someone touched my body, but when I saw the pieces of fabric on the floor that couldn't even be called clothes, thinking of everything that happened during the day, the intense humiliation and shame surged up again. Tears streamed down my face. I gave myself a hard slap. Maria, it's time to wake up. Don't dream anymore and don't think about him anymore. I threw these things into the trash can with force. It was like throwing away that humiliated self. I soaked in the water and scrubbed every inch of my skin vigorously. I wanted to completely wipe away all the feelings he had left on my body. I couldn't sleep all night, and I caught a fever in a daze in the morning, so I took another half-day leave in the afternoon. I went to school in a daze and submitted the application for recommended admission. As soon as I came out of the teacher's office, my wrist was suddenly grabbed and I was dragged into a confined space. Haley's handsome eyebrows and eyes loomed large in front of me. His eyebrows were bold and wild, and there was a faint smell of tobacco on him. He didn't smile. He held my hand tightly and questioned me aggressively. Maria, what do you mean? Are you playing hard to get with me? You didn't answer my calls and didn't reply to my iMessage messages. Are you just trying to pick a fight with me? Where did you go that day? Why didn't you wear the clothes I gave you? Huh? His eyes narrowed, and his tone was clear with a hint of threat. When I saw clearly where I was, I became wide awake in an instant. It turned out to be a cubicle in the boys' restroom. I was so angry that I was shaking, and a wave of nausea washed over me. My vision went white, and I couldn't say a word. Haley paused for a moment, then suddenly pressed his forehead against mine, raising his eyebrows in surprise. You're burning up. Are you really sick? His grip loosened, and he smiled. Forget it, I'll forgive you this time. I bent over and curled up, trying my best to hold back the urge to retch. You're sick and you didn't even say anything, but you still can't just ignore my messages. You stood me up and now you want to avoid me. Haley criticized me for ignoring him these past few days. Seeing that I didn't respond, he suddenly thrust his hand under my clothes and said with a wicked smile, let me check if the school committee member has finished the homework I assigned. I was completely unable to resist as he forcefully pulled me into his arms and started groping me. His strength was great, his actions were domineering, and his breath was scorching hot. His big hand wantonly wandered over my skin, groping and kneading me lewdly. I wrapped my arms around my chest and desperately pushed him away. Just yesterday he said those words, and today he still wants to use me to satisfy his desires. How long does he want to humiliate me? I felt extremely humiliated and desperate, and couldn't help but shed tears. With all my might, I sobbed and resisted. No. When he saw that I was crying, Haley stopped his actions. After a moment of silence, he held me even tighter, his voice lewd and sarcastic. What's wrong, little wildcat? Are you still angry? He seemed to be coaxing me gently, but the words that came out of his mouth were like knives piercing my heart. Are you jealous because of what happened yesterday and the things they posted on the internet? Maria, we're all adults. What happened between us was consensual and doesn't mean anything. I thought you understood that. Just because of these things, you want to tie me down. That's too much pressure, isn't it? Besides, that was to save someone's life. If you're so petty, it's not fun at all. It's a matter of life and death. You're old enough to know the difference between what's important and what's not. No wonder they say you're too fierce, just like a wicked female supporting character. So he saw everything and knew everything. He clearly knew how cruel those comments and discussions were for a girl. That's why he couldn't wait to leave a message to protect Florence when her name was mentioned. But he said those things about me in public, and he never even explained a single word on my behalf. It's just because he gave all his pity and cherishment to another girl in his heart, and I was just a tool for him to vent his desires. I didn't deserve anything. I was nothing. Tears welled up and streamed down my face. With all my strength, I slapped him across the face. Looking into his eyes, I said word by word, seriously, Haley, I won't care about you anymore. The playful look on Haley's face crumbled inch by inch, and the strength in his hand suddenly increased. He gripped my chin, his dark eyes faintly red, looking at me fiercely and helplessly. Maria, say that again. I defiantly stared back at him. My vision was blurred, and I choked back my sobs but spoke firmly. Haley, I said I'll never. Before I could finish, Haley covered my lips with his. He kissed me urgently and fiercely, holding me tightly in his arms. I was kissed breathlessly and pounded on him with all my might. My vision went dark, and I felt nauseous. There was no longer the throb and passion of that first kiss in the dark. All that was left was humiliation and powerlessness. Haley's fingers roughly brushed across my swollen and red lips. Maria, I'll pretend I didn't hear what you just said. Don't be jealous for no reason. Didn't I come to find you? Be good and stop making a fuss. He gripped my waist and pressed my upper body against his in this dirty and narrow cubicle of the boys' restroom. He looked at me with a burning gaze and smiled lazily and wickedly. "Don't forget, you still owe me one time." I just felt it was absurd. It seemed as if all my tears had been shed. My heart was filled with desolation. What on earth did he take me for? My head was dizzy, and my heart ached intermittently. My blood was surging, and everything went dark before my eyes. I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I was already in a hospital ward. My mother propped up the hospital bed for me and said worriedly, "How do you feel? Are you still uncomfortable? You're such a child. Even though senior year of high school is important, you can't put so much pressure on yourself. You were participating in the competition in another place during the vacation and didn't have a good rest, even though grades are important. Mom just wants you to be healthy and happy." My nose tingled, and my heart felt warm. I replied sullenly, "Yeah, I didn't tell my mother about the recommended admission quota that I could get because of winning the competition. Before, I wanted to go to the same university as Haley. At least, I wanted to get into a university in the same place as him." Haley and I had been in an ambiguous relationship for so long, and our parents on both sides had noticed it and were happy about it. They had already tacitly agreed that we would become a couple sooner or later. Now, I didn't want to care about Haley anymore, but I didn't have the energy to explain to my parents or get entangled with Haley, so I decided to wait until we naturally separated before talking about it. My mother peeled a lychee for me and said with a smile, "Someone came to see you just now and brought a big box of lychees. You love eating them, don't you? He stayed with you for a long time. He just went out and will be back soon. You should thank him properly." My heart tightened, and I felt sullen. There weren't many people who knew I loved eating lychees. Besides my parents, it was Haley. I clenched the quilt tightly, feeling mixed emotions in my heart. The door of the ward was soon knocked on, and a clear and pleasant male voice came. "Auntie, is senior sister feeling better?" I widened my eyes and turned my head. The boy who came in was wearing a clean and tidy white shirt. His fingers were long and slender. He was slowly rolling down his sleeves. His voice was gentle and low, and he smiled quietly and shyly. It was Leonard. I clearly didn't want to see Haley, but the moment I saw that it wasn't Haley, my heart still couldn't help but ache and feel sour. I cursed myself for being so foolish, but the feelings I had for so many years couldn't be erased from my heart all at once. I could only try to get over them slowly. Seeing this, my mother stood up and left. "You two talk, I'll go buy some food." Leonard declined for a while but was still left to have a meal with me in the ward with just the two of us. I raised my head and thanked him with a smile. "Thank you, junior brother." Leonard sat by the bedside. After a moment of silence, he said, "If you don't want to smile, senior sister, you don't have to. You don't have to pretend in front of me." "Senior sister." I felt inexplicably embarrassed. I picked up my phone, but Leonard pressed down on my hand. "Don't look, senior sister." But after touching my hand, he quickly withdrew his hand. The tips of his ears turned slightly red. "I didn't mean anything else. It's just that." I opened iMessage, and countless messages immediately popped up. Many classmates and friends who were concerned about me sent messages. I replied to them one by one until I saw a message sent by one of Haley's hooligan friends. "Charlie, how much for one time? Name your price." I replied with a question mark in disbelief. The other person's messages immediately came one after another. "Charlie, you're still pretending to be innocent even after all this." Charlie, Campus Network screenshot JPG. "Charlie, the slut who was played with until she fainted in the boys' restroom on the second floor is still playing hard to get." Charlie, now the whole school knows about it. You've even made a name for yourself. Just name your price." Charlie, what? Haley can play with you, but I can't. I tremblingly clicked on the screenshot. It was a post on the Campus Network. The title was, "Shocking, the sexy goddess of class 2, senior year 3 was almost naked, her body wet, and fainted in the cubicle of the boys' restroom on the second floor." The post described in detail the process of me being taken out of the boys' restroom and sent to the infirmary. The accompanying picture was a secretly taken photo. In the photo, I had already fainted from the fever, with my wet eyes closed, my face flushed, and my lips swollen and red. The thin summer school uniform was soaked with sweat and stuck to my body, outlining my full curves and revealing a faint pink underneath. What was even worse was that my school uniform had been pulled and loosened by Haley. I was disheveled, revealing a large area of skin on my chest and waist. My delicate and deep curves were fully exposed, making people's imaginations run wild. It was clearly just a case of fainting from a fever, but it had been distorted into something. After clicking on the original post, a screen full of foul language stung my eyes. The classmates in Their adolescents were most interested in such topics. Haley had just said those words yesterday and this happened today. It was like conclusive evidence nailing me to the pillar of shame. Everyone was excitedly discussing. Thank you, Maria, this figure is really something. Is there going to be an encore? Can I just stay in the boys' restroom on the second floor from now on? What did I miss? Why didn't I go to the boys' restroom on the second floor and check it out? Maybe I could have had a good time. 2. We're all classmates. You guys are so disgusting. She had already taken a sick leave, she was just not feeling well. Some female classmates also stood up indignantly to defend me, but there were more of the most mean-spirited insults towards girls. Yeah, she must really have a fever, right? Otherwise, why would she faint in the boys' restroom? Maybe she was just confused from the fever and went to the wrong restroom. Do you really believe she went to the wrong restroom? So, are there any guys who had a good time? Come and tell us how many people have had a go and what it was like. It's so funny. You should ask Haley, right? I heard he was the one who saved her. I wonder if it's the first time or Haley has saved the beauty again. Maybe the sexy goddess wasn't even willing. Florence, stop talking. Everyone, Maria was just not feeling well. It's too much to talk about a girl like this, even if she did something. It's her own freedom. After this sentence, Haley quickly replied to the post. Haley, don't talk nonsense. She had a fever, and I was just taking care of her. No one believed this flimsy explanation. Can a fever make you go to the boys' restroom? I think it's a different kind of fever. I wonder how many heroes took care of her before Haley showed up. Maria has always been pestering Haley, right? So did she try to seduce Haley in the boys' restroom but was rejected? Or was she picked up by someone else? Haley, come out and say something. But except for that one sentence, Haley never showed up again. Tears fell one by one onto the phone screen. My heart ached as if it was being cut to pieces. It was Haley who forcefully dragged me into the cubicle of the boys' restroom, groped me, and humiliated me wantonly. But he casually skipped over all of that. He let all those filthy and demeaning insults be thrown at me, drowning me completely. Leonard took out a tissue and clumsily wiped my tears for me. Senior sister. Those are all rumors made up by people who don't know you. I've already contacted the school network administrator to delete the post. Don't listen to their nonsense. Senior sister. I raised my head and asked him with a bitter smile, how do you know that it's all their rumors? What if It's impossible. I know that senior sister is definitely not that kind of person. There was full of pity in Leonard's eyes as he looked at me, and he said without hesitation, in that situation, senior sister definitely didn't do it willingly. My heart warmed, and the tears kept falling. Otherwise, you wouldn't have ignored me. He said something in a very soft voice, and I didn't catch it. What did you say? Nothing. Leonard lowered his head and scrolled through his phone. Senior sister, the post has been deleted. After a moment of silence, Leonard asked me carefully, senior sister, maybe, can Haley explain this? I shook my head bitterly. In such an embarrassing situation, how could he possibly explain it? Once he did, he would have to admit in front of his beloved Florence that he had dragged another woman into the boys' restroom. Everyone understood what the ambiguous and naked primal impulse behind this meant. Leonard nodded. Then, can I explain it? I looked at him blankly. Leonard smiled. I'll just explain that senior sister was sick. I won't put senior sister in an awkward position. I hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Leonard left before my mother came back. Seeing that I was crying, my mother hugged me and comforted me for a long time. She asked me what had happened, but I just shook my head. I didn't want my mother to see those embarrassing things. After the meal, I picked up my phone again. The posts on the campus network had been deleted completely. In the class group, perhaps because I was still in the group, there weren't any overly excessive remarks. Instead, they were chatting about other gossip. Someone posted a screenshot of Florence's story in the group. Sports committee member, what's going on? Is the school beauty officially announcing something? Florence, is this what it's like to love someone? He's clearly a fierce and bad big wolf in front of others, but in front of you, he's just a silly little dog trying his best to make you happy. The accompanying picture was a clumsily sewn little rabbit doll. It was clumsy and rough, but it was something I made with my own hands when I was a child and gave to Haley. I stared blankly at this photo. My tears had dried up, and my heart was completely broken. When I was a child, my parents often went on business trips. I would go to Haley's house for dinner and do my homework. I missed my parents very much, but I didn't want to worry Aunt Jiang. I would always hide in the bathroom and secretly wipe away my tears. Haley noticed and kept playing with me, so that I didn't have time to feel lonely and sad. We made a pair of small dolls together, a little rabbit and a little dog. I didn't know how to make them, and Haley patiently taught me step by step in order to practice. My Little hands were full of wounds from being pricked by needles, yet he kept blowing on the small cuts on my hands, coaxing me with a pained expression. When he gave me the little dog doll, Haley said, "Maria, when you're alone, the little dog will accompany you instead of me, and your little rabbit will accompany me instead of you. The little dog and the little rabbit will always be together, and we should also be this close for a lifetime." But now, the little dog doll representing him is still placed on my bedside. The little rabbit doll representing me, however, has been given by him to another girl. I opened Haley's iMessage, deleted and blocked him from my contacts and from my life as well. When I'm in a bad mood, I also recover from my illness slowly. I've been packing up my things and sorting out my feelings on and off at home. I classified one by one the things that Haley had given me before. The limited edition vinyl record that he queued up for a whole day to buy when I was obsessed with original sound, the Polaroid photo taken when he suddenly hugged me from behind under the aurora in Lapland, the ruby rose ring from the Renaissance period that he spent 2 days hunting for in the antique market in Florence and brought back, and many, many more. Finally, there was that little dog doll that he made with his own hands, representing him. All these were packed into a big box, out of the light. Haley came to look for me several times. I didn't open the door and pretended not to be at home. One night, a class committee member sent me a message asking, "Class committee member, what exactly is going on between you and Haley?" "Maria, class committee member, Haley has been acting crazy lately. Can't you do something about him?" "Maria, what?" "Class committee member, when will you come back to school?" Before I could reply, the class committee member suddenly sent a voice call. When I answered it, it was Haley's voice on the other end. "Maria, how long are you going to keep making a fuss? Blocking me? Playing such petty tricks just to get my attention, right? If you have the guts, never show up in front of me again. Who wants to go to the same university as you? If it weren't for you being unable to live without me, do you think I really wanted to?" Haley's words were sharp and full of sarcasm. I was silent for a moment, then replied softly, "Okay, I see." But Haley seemed to get even angrier. "What do you mean? Are you still not done? Who was the one crying like that last time? I'm giving you a chance to make up. Don't be ungrateful," I said calmly. "Haley, I told you, I won't care about you anymore." Haley laughed. "Ha, fine, fine, fine. Maria, you're ruthless. You said this yourself. Don't regret it." There was a loud bang on the other end of the phone. The phone was smashed on the ground during my sick leave. The only good news was that my recommended admission quota was approved. The college entrance examination would be much easier for me compared to other classmates, but I didn't hesitate to submit an application to transfer to the key class. My grades were good enough to be assigned to the key class. I stayed in the ordinary class before because I wanted to study with Haley. Now, I don't want that anymore. I just want to stay as far away from him as possible. Haley didn't come to look for me again, nor did he contact me. Correspondingly, there was his high-profile relationship with Florence. Even though I had blocked him, screenshots of his and Florence's story were still shared with me by various classmates and friends. Originally, his profile picture was pitch black, his story was blank, and it was set to be visible only for the last 3 days, giving off an aloof vibe and keeping people at a distance. Now, it has been replaced with a cute and soft cartoon puppy. It's a couple profile picture with Florence. The two of them also check in on their story every day, recording all kinds of little details of their youthful first love, handmade love-themed lunches, sharing the same pair of earphones to listen to music, writing each other's names in their notebooks, feeding the stray kittens in the corner of the school together, the couple bracelets showing when they held hands under the shade of the trees. When I saw these, my hand holding the phone couldn't help but clench tightly. It turned out that Haley wasn't someone who didn't know how to respect girls. He just didn't respect me. He wasn't someone who didn't know how to seriously date a girl. He was just casual with me. I suppressed the surging emotions in my heart. I told myself, "Maria, stop being sad for someone who isn't worth it. Stop being so foolish." It's easy to arouse the dissatisfaction of classmates when transferring to the key class in the 3rd year of high school. On the first day of my transfer, the head teacher specifically introduced me in detail. "Classmate Maria is a member of the provincial competition team. She won the National Gold Award on behalf of our province last year. She wasn't assigned to the key class before due to personal time arrangements, but she is really capable. Everyone, don't underestimate her. If you have any questions, feel free to ask her." There were no poor students in the key class, and the looks they gave me immediately turned to admiration. Classmate Leonard also just transferred to our class, and there's an empty seat next to him. "You're also teammates on the competition team, so let's make progress together." I widened my eyes. Leonard was sitting in the last row, with clear and handsome features, smiling gently at me. Senior sister, let's work hard together. It felt a bit strange that my junior brother suddenly became my classmate. We're both in senior year, you don't have to call me senior sister anymore. Leonard looked at me seriously, his eyes shining brightly. The sunlight was shining on him, and he was truly a youthful boy. Okay, Maria. My heart suddenly skipped a beat. I turned my head away in a flustered manner. Maria, the most important thing now is to study. Everything else is not important. Unexpectedly, no one in the school pointed fingers at me. It seemed that everyone had forgotten that post. I opened the campus network and soon came across a follow-up post. The person who posted it directly revealed their identity. I'm Leonard from Class 1, Grade 2. I'm a teammate of senior sister Maria on the competition team. Senior sister specially came to school to deliver documents to me when she was on sick leave. It was still during class at that time. Senior sister went to the wrong restroom due to physical discomfort and fainted alone in the cubicle. Her condition was critical. She was discovered by classmates after class and sent to the hospital. Please don't maliciously slander, spread rumors, or damage the reputation of your classmates. In serious cases, the victim has the right to pursue legal liability. He also attached my diagnosis report from that day. The private information was blurred, leaving only the illness information. The tone of the comments below suddenly changed. The classmates who knew me stood up one after another to defend me. Only Haley angrily posted a comment. Haley, at Leonard, who the hell are you? The study tasks in the third year of high school were very heavy. Even though both Leonard and I had already secured the recommended admission quota, we still didn't slack off. I wanted to completely forget Haley through the hardship of studying. Leonard, because he skipped a grade, needed to solidify his foundation even more. After immersing ourselves in our studies, we shared our notes and experiences, explained each other's weak subjects, and competed to solve difficult problems together. Time passed in a fulfilling and intense manner. During the evening self-study after the exam, the seat next to me was pulled out. I passed over the cut fruits. Leonard, my mom told me to bring more and share them with you. Maria, have you had enough of this? I suddenly looked up. Haley was sitting next to me. He half turned his body, pressing me against the corner seat. Just to be spiteful, you transferred classes without saying a word, and even found a pretty boy junior to make me angry. Who gave you the right to do this? Maria, I'm telling you, if you still want to go to the same university as me, break up with this pretty boy right now. The classroom fell so silent that a pin drop could be heard. Everyone pricked up their ears to listen. I was so angry that I laughed and looked up. Please move aside. This is Leonard's seat. Haley squinted his eyes at me. No, I won't move. This is my seat. I pushed him angrily, but he grabbed my wrist and pulled me towards him. He was strong and domineering. The humiliation of being casually manipulated came over me again. It made me feel desperate and heartbroken. Knock, knock. The desk in front of Haley was suddenly knocked twice. Classmate, this is my seat. Leonard stood tall and straight, tilting his head and looking at him in confusion. You don't seem to be a classmate in our class, right? This is the key class. Leonard deliberately emphasized the last three words. Haley was immediately enraged. He stood up and grabbed Leonard's collar. What do you mean? Say that again. Leonard pointed at the clock behind him. The teacher is coming. Haley cursed with an ugly expression and left, flinging his hand away. As soon as Leonard sat down, he showed concern for me. Are you okay? Did he do anything to you? I felt extremely guilty. I'm sorry. I apologize to you on his behalf. Can you not apologize for him? Leonard was silent for a moment before adding pitifully, I'll be sad. I was taken aback, and my face suddenly felt a bit hot. I went to the restroom and splashed some cold water on my face to get rid of the unnecessary heat, but as soon as I came out, I was pushed into a dark and empty classroom. Haley pressed me against the door and asked me in a hateful voice, Maria, you succeeded. What do I have to do for you to leave that pretty boy? I was trapped in his embrace, trembling as I hugged my body tightly, but I still mustered up the courage to retort, you already have Florence. Why are you still meddling in my business? Haley laughed with a relieved expression. So, you're still jealous and won't even let me touch you. I've already said, you two are different. I was furious. I'm not jealous. I just don't want to care about you anymore. Don't want to be entangled with you. And don't want to see you either. Have you ever, even once, listened to what I said? I was the one who shamelessly pestered you before. If you had told me that you liked someone else, I wouldn't have acted like that at all. But you strung me along, treating me like a woman you could play with at will, and you've never shown me the slightest bit of respect. peeling open the most embarrassing scar again. I tried my best to hold back the soreness in my nose. You clearly don't like me, but you've been lying to me, wanting to play with my body. Do you think you're worthy of our parents and the friendship we've had since childhood? You're simply a beast. Haley's face turned ugly. You're saying such harsh words. Weren't you willing to do all those things? I gave you those clothes to wear, and you didn't get angry at all. When I kissed you on the day of the power outage, you were also very active. Isn't that what happens between consenting adults? I smiled bitterly. I was foolish to have liked you and thought that you liked me too, which is why I let you do those things to me. But that's not an excuse for you to humiliate me and spread rumors about me behind my back, and not even explain a single word for me. It's even less of an excuse for you to give that doll to her so easily. Haley, ask yourself, would you do this to Florence? You just wanted to have fun with my body while you were in a relationship with Florence. Haley was hit right in the mark, and his whole body went stiff. You're talking nonsense. I didn't. After a moment, he said with difficulty, Maria, our relationship of so many years shouldn't fall apart because of such a thing. It's not worth it. Since you insist on this, I'll break up with Florence, for your sake. I thought it was extremely ridiculous. I pushed him away with force. He still didn't understand. It wasn't Florence who destroyed our relationship of so many years, it was himself. You can refill a cup of tea when it gets cold, but when your heart turns cold, even the remaining warmth is a luxury. I don't need that. Haley, I don't want to see you anymore, and you shouldn't come near me either. I feel scared and disgusted. Ignoring Haley's suddenly staggering figure, I turned and left. Haley and Florence broke up. There was a gossip post on the campus network. It made veiled insinuations. I had been pestering Haley, interfering in his relationship with Florence, seducing Jeong Body, and finally you with my managed to take Florence's place. Although character codenames were used, everyone knew who it was talking about. It described a lot of details of my interactions with Haley, and Florence was involved. Facing all this, my heart was no longer affected. It turned out that letting go of someone wasn't that difficult after all. When I tore someone else's name out of my heart, I realized that there was my own poem hidden underneath. I was very happy that I had found myself again. When I was concentrating on doing practice problems, there were always classmates who were eager for gossip coming to ask me about it. I was so annoyed by these groundless rumors, so I also posted a message, Maria, only those who can solve the following problem are worthy of talking about love with me. Then I posted the additional questions from the competition. There were a lot of comments calling me a genius. Only Leonard replied with detailed steps and the answer, and left a message. Deskmate, do I qualify? I replied, you've already done this. You're cheating, Leonard. Give another question. I'll do it to prove it. Me. Haley also left a comment below. At Maria, see you at University A. University A was the university that I had once wanted to get into with him. However, it no longer mattered. I put down my phone and didn't reply anymore. Haley didn't come to look for me again, but all kinds of snacks, drinks, and desserts that I liked began to appear on my desk. I shared them all with my surrounding classmates. Haley would use other people's phones to send me messages, either asking about my relationship with Leonard, or explaining that nothing had happened between him and Florence. There was also a photo of that little rabbit doll, indicating that he had taken it back. I blocked them one by one and never replied. They all said that after I turned away, Haley had a change of heart. He worked hard to catch up with me, hoping to rekindle our relationship at the agreed-upon University A. They said that men always realize their deep love only after they lose someone. Haley was the same, but I didn't want to pay any attention to it. After the college entrance examination, I started to deal with another matter when Haley knocked on the door of my house with the admission notice of University A in his hand. Looking full of pride, all that was left there was an empty house and a large wooden box placed at the door. Inside the box were all the things related to him. On the very top was the little dog doll that he had made with his own hands. On the sticky note on the chest of the little dog, it read, "Goodbye, Haley, never see you again." I was recommended for admission to University B and moved to City B with my family. When I heard that Haley had managed to get into University A against the odds, I gave a bitter smile. Even though so many unpleasant things had happened, after all, we had known each other for so many years, I was sincerely happy for him and his parents that he was back on the right track. However, University A and University B, one was in the south and the other was in the north. From then on, we were separated by a great distance and would each lead our own lives. Throughout the whole vacation, I traveled to various places. After the new semester started, I learned from my former classmates Haley was going crazy looking for me. I didn't reveal any information about my location. I had also already explained the situation to my parents, but after the school started, I was still blocked by Haley on campus. Haley didn't look well. There were dark circles under his eyes and his hair was messy. Even so, he still attracted the attention of many girls around. He had always had a superior appearance. Even when he looked haggard, he had a kind of desolate and broken charm. Otherwise, he wouldn't have always been a popular figure on campus. I asked in surprise, "Haley, why are you here?" Haley looked down at me. "You left without saying anything. Maria, you can't play me like this. We agreed to go to university together. I got in. Why aren't you there?" I felt a bit embarrassed. "Haley, I thought I had made it clear." Haley suddenly became a bit agitated. "Maria, you can't treat me like this. Just because I made a mistake once, you're sentencing me to death. I've already broken up with Florence. I've also cut off contact with those brothers you don't like. I don't fight, smoke, or drink anymore. And I've been admitted to university as we agreed." I was a bit speechless. "Haley, these things are actually for your own good. I didn't ask you to break up. I really don't care anymore." Haley was immediately stung. "Yes, I know you're doing it for my own good. I was such a jerk before. If you want me to apologize, if you want me to kneel down and beg you, I'll do anything. Just don't ignore me." "Maria, we've been together for so many years. Can't you give me another chance? After you left, everything seemed wrong. I finally realized that I can't live without you in my life." He took out the pair of rabbit and dog dolls and handed them to me. "I was wrong before, but I've corrected my mistakes, and I'll find a way to make it up to you in the future. Maria, don't leave me." "Okay." I didn't take them and just said softly, "But some wounds can't be healed, Haley. Even if you apologize and we can pretend that nothing happened, I still remember everything. I remember that you were thinking of someone else, yet you still trampled on my feelings, played with my body at will, laughed at me behind my back with your brothers, and didn't explain anything after dragging me into the restroom." Enough. The corners of Haley's eyes turned red. When he spoke again, he sounded extremely aggrieved. "I know, it's all my fault. I made a mistake. I just want a chance to make up for my mistakes and pursue you again. Isn't that possible?" I looked at my phone and felt a bit impatient. "Haley, not all mistakes can be forgiven." Haley was about to say something more. Another male voice interrupted. "I've been looking for you for a long time. Why are you still here?" Leonard walked up and took my hand. He smiled politely at Haley. "Sorry, classmate, Ruoli and I have an appointment later." When he saw Leonard, Haley's eyes suddenly darkened. "Ruoli, so, you got into University B because of him, you..." Leonard blocked me behind him and interrupted Haley casually. "Classmate, Ruoli and I were both recommended for admission, so we didn't need to take the exam." Haley still couldn't believe it. "You liked me so much. How could this be possible? When did you two?" I said calmly, "The day you and your brother talked about what I was wearing. I applied for the recommended admission. When I was in the hospital because of you, he was the one who accompanied me. When I was slandered and smeared because of you, he was the one who believed me and explained for me. There are many more things like this. Do you want to hear them all?" Haley's face turned pale inch by inch. He mumbled his lips but couldn't say a word. I shook the hand we were holding and gave him a bright smile. "Haley, I'm living a good life now. You should also look forward." As we passed each other, Leonard chuckled softly. "He's not even worthy of being called your ex-husband. Why bother making a fool of himself?" I was amused by him, but I also felt like crying a bit. So an ex-husband would be okay. Leonard took my hand and kissed it. "Definitely not. I won't let you have anything like that in the future." Haley stood there stiffly, his body hunched, looking desolate and dejected. Under the coat, there was a choker with a pink ribbon, a black lace bra, suspender fishnet black silk stockings, and a bunny tail sticking out of a mini skirt. After that, Haley came to look for me many more times. I just ignored him. Leonard became even more clingy to me. In winter, he would share half of his scarf with me, cover my hands and gently blow on them, and open his coat to wrap me in his arms. But he treated me with great respect. Only when he got my permission would he blush and gently kiss my cheek. We laughed and played around, whispering intimately and flirting. We shared the sweet nothings that lovers do. All these things were also seen by Haley. He was so jealous that he almost went crazy. Finally, one day, He couldn't hold back and resorted to violence. I called the police without hesitation and let him be taken away by the police. There was a deep plea in his eyes as he looked at me until the last glimmer of light in his eyes faded away under my calm and indifferent gaze. He never appeared in front of me again. Later, I heard that he dropped out of University A and fell back into his old ways. He smoked, drank, fought, went to bars, raced cars, and caused a lot of trouble. When he was drunk, he would always cry and call my name. He was living a life that was neither human nor ghostly. Haley's parents were extremely disappointed in him. The economic situation of the Jeong family also took a nosedive. Haley was no longer the dashing and carefree young master of the Jeong family, the school bully he once was. I was calm. I silently deleted all the messages related to him, as well as our mutual friends. I completely erased the last trace of him from my life. Like a wandering duckweed in flowing water, we parted ways and led separate lives. The end.